Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Toni and I'm a homeschooling mom to 4 kids. I'm continuing on this little series that I started last week about how our curriculum is going mid-year. So it's a mid-year review, how things are going. I talked about spelling, so if you missed that video, I'll link that above, and then in the description box also, if you want to find out how our spelling is going and how we like that. Today I'm talking all about reading. So if you want to find out how our reading curriculum is going, we are using Christian Light Education Reading for all 3 of my girls. So if you want to find out how we're liking that, then stay tuned. So I'm partnering with Christian Light Education this year, and I'm really excited to share with you guys how we're liking it. This is my honest opinion. Even though we're partnering together, you can always trust me to give you my true, honest opinion on how this is working for our family. But I do, in general, love Christian Light and all the things that we have done in the past. So I was really excited to partner with them this year. We used Christian Light Education's reading years ago, and I loved it. And we stopped because my girls, my oldest especially, wanted to do something different. I like to switch curriculum, in case you haven't picked up on that on my channel yet. I love change, but we're getting to that stage in life where I really need to stick with something because my oldest she'll be going into 8th grade next year. So I'm trying to really find something that's a good fit. So we're back to Christian Light reading. This is a good, solid reading program. And I'm gonna share with you all the things that I love and then some of the things that I don't love. In general, we love this. I love this as the mom. Now, some of the cons that you're gonna hear come from my kids. So I'm gonna give you the honest truth about this. So I will share with you first just in case you don't know about Christian Light's reading program, what it is. So they have light units. So these are light units. They're these little booklets that have 15 lessons in them. Yeah, it's got 15 lessons and a light unit test, and it's got 2 quizzes in there. And you can do those or not. We do all the quizzes, we do all the tests. I think it's really great. It's good review, and I just think it's great. So all 3 of my kids are doing this. 4th grade and below, they have 10 light units. So I just picked up like a mid-year one. So this is 305. So I can show you the inside of it in a little bit. But she gets 10 light units, and that's what she works through for the year. My older girls, I think it starts with 5th grade, because this was the first year that I noticed this. They only have 5 light units. So she's got 501 to 505, and she also has 701 to 705. So at first, I wasn't sure how to do this. So I will tell you how we're doing this, because if you have kids in different levels, and this kid has a whole year of reading, and this kid only has half a year, what some people do is they will either do this every other day or just a couple days a week so that it spreads out through the whole year, and maybe just assign different silent reading or something like that on the days where they're not doing reading so that it can last the whole year. So that is one option, and that is what we started with in the beginning of the year. What got annoying for me and why we didn't stick with that was because I couldn't remember, because she was doing reading every day. My 3rd grader was doing reading every single day, so it wasn't hard. 5 days a week she did reading. But these girls I'd be like, okay, go do your reading. Oh, I did reading yesterday. And I'd say, okay, I guess you do it tomorrow. And then the next day they would do their reading, and then they forgot, or something would happen. We'd have a doctor's appointment. They didn't get it done that day. It just messed us up. I didn't like having to do it every other or something. And then, I don't know, it didn't work for us to do it that way. So what I'm doing, and this is the other thing that when I researched this in the beginning of the year, what some people do is they will do all the light units just like this one. They'll all start at the beginning of the year. They'll do reading every single day. And then when they're done, they're done. So potentially, if you did it every single day and you don't have any interruptions in life, halfway through the year, you would just come up with something else to do the second half of the year. Well, life is life. So we've had a lot of interruptions. So they're not quite done with all their books. So we're just gonna keep going until they finish. And if there's 2 months left of school and their reading program is done, then I'll start assigning books. I'm not gonna buy another reading curriculum. I will assign maybe some harder reading books, and maybe we'll just discuss it and things like that. So that is how we are managing having 5 light units versus having 10 light units and making that fair. You always hear from somebody where it's like, well, that's not fair. I have to do reading every day and they don't have to do it every day. And kids are so precious. So let's move on. So here's the pros and cons. First pro is this is a Christian curriculum. So one thing that I love about this is They are solid character building, good quality stories. So that is something that as the mom, I appreciate. I am never worried about what they're going to be reading in their books. Let me show you their book that they read the stories out of real quick. So this is the 3rd grade book, Doors to Discovery. The 5th grade book is Open Windows. And then the 7th grade book is The Road Less Traveled. So they each have a book. It's filled with different stories. It's got poems. The reading is obviously more difficult as time goes on. So the 3rd grade book, Open Doors, you know, the print is bigger. Every single story starts with a Bible verse, which I think is really great. Another pro that I'm going to share with you, there is so much vocabulary involved in this, and I love that because we do language and there's some vocabulary in there, but I've never done like a separate vocabulary program like some people do, but they've got vocabulary words throughout the story. So we've got, you know, like this is a 3rd grade book, coward, misdeeds. So they're always dark in there. There's one, bear, but you're using the different definitions for bear. They've got a glossary in the back of the book where they look the words up, and then in their light unit they're going to have to learn those words and what they mean, and then there's vocabulary practice every single day, and I love that. So just to give you a glimpse of this, this has their study words, so it'll give her a new word to learn. So it's not just reading comprehension, and I love that that is involved in this. So it tells them how to say stuff. Then it always gives you a little introduction to the story, and this can be a little challenging for my 3rd grader because she's not used to this. This is new to her, but it's a good challenge. So it gives her a little introduction to the story, and it asks her a question about it. What would you have done? Or what do you think that's going to happen? Or something like that. And it just gives them, makes them think, because it's not like a right or wrong answer that they can find in here. It makes them think. So I think that's really good. And then it tells them if they're going to silently read or if they're going to do oral reading. And then it's just got a couple pages where this one, something that I think has been really cool in the 3rd grade lesson is that they have taught them how to scan a story to find information. That has been so good for her. Being in 3rd grade and kind of, you know, stepping up her reading game this year, being able to look for, you know, to do what I do. Like when she asks me a question, I scan the story to see, I'm looking for that key word so I can help her find the answer. She's learning how to do that, and she has to, it gives her like the key word in bold here, and then it tells her she has to write down what page she found it on. And that's just, I think that's really good. It talks about like asking questions about who said what, which is definitions. It has a memory verse that they have to work on, so it's definitely very strong Christian curriculum. It has a glossary. They're learning how to use a glossary, which is so important because so many kids nowadays, everything's technology. Like, and I just think this is so good. She knows what the guide words are, the entry words are, pronunciation, stuff like that. I love that. I think that is really great. They do alphabetical order. They learn how to read the table of contents. It also says they have to do certain things in cursive, which she is learning cursive this year too. So that's an example of one lesson for the 3rd grader. So the 5th grader, it's going to be very similar, just a little bit more challenging. They have vocabulary words there. They've got story comprehension questions. It's been a little bit of a challenge for her because this is the first year, well, she didn't do this curriculum last year, so doing a lot of comprehension questions has been a little bit harder. She's really got to pay attention to the story. So you can't just read these stories while there's a lot going on in the room and hope that you can answer the questions. You really have to pay attention, and so that's been a good challenge for her. Then it tells her if she's going to be silently reading or orally reading. They've got different things, like here we're working on homonyms. They're writing the definition. They have to look words up and write the definition. They are circling the correct ending to the story over here. They do true or false at the bottom there. This one is talking about the author's purpose. See, this is deeper than just, did you comprehend the story? They're learning so many different parts of reading, and I just think that that is just so important. Matching letters, they've got looking back to writing the words, these glossary words again. Again, she has to know that what these words mean. She has to study them because they're always on the test. And if you didn't get them right during the book, that's one lesson there. If you didn't get them right in the book, you're not going to get them right on the test. And they really need to try their hardest when they're doing their workbook, because all that stuff that they did throughout the week is going to be on the test. And then my 7th grader, hers has been a big challenge for her because it's a lot more than we did last year, but it's good stuff. I really like it. So she also has vocabulary here. She's got introducing the story. So here, there's one where it says oral reading. So that means her and I have to read together. And I do love that. The younger girls, it's like, I think it's every other day that they're doing oral reading with me. Hers is just a couple times in the book. So most of it is her reading to herself, which I do appreciate because it is hard when you're reading orally and people have to just sit and wait for mom to be ready to read out loud. So I'm glad hers isn't every other day, but I'm glad it's in here because it is important. She doesn't love to read out loud, but it's an important thing. She would much rather skip that part, and she reads great, but you need to practice, you know, to get better. They've just got different things about questions on the story, understanding the content of the story, examining the narrative. So hers is a lot more detailed. It's a 7th grade curriculum, so it's a lot more challenging. We're talking about, it says here, complete each exercise about the static and dynamic characters in the story. So they have taught this in previous books, and she has to go over that. Life application questions here. I wouldn't call it easy for sure, but it's good. It's really good. Types of writing narrative. There's writing and creative writing here. And then we've got word study, learning the roots. They do stress that a lot, learning the meaning of the roots. That is what the light units look like. It's really thorough. It's very challenging, but it doesn't bring out tears. But it is a challenge. It's very independent. So except for that oral reading part, this is independent. And I need that. When I have 4 kids and I need to make sure I have time for my son, if I'm working with my son, they could be working on this reading program or whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing. So I need a couple subjects that are independent, and this really is completely independent. And if they do struggle with anything, they can either ask me for help, or once I grade it, I go back and we work together and I teach them how to do it. This is the teacher book. So each level has a teacher's guide. This one's bigger because they have 10 light units. These only have 5. But the books, the actual pages are in here. It's got extra stuff, which I usually do not do any of that. If I had 1 kid or maybe 2 kids, maybe I would do this like teaching aspect of it, but they really just do it completely independent, and I just use this for grading. They have ways that you can work on the vocabulary to really help them understand it, but I just have them look it up and they kind of learn it themselves. So this is really just a grading book for me, but it is important because I would not know all these answers. I don't want to have to read the story. Some people ask sometimes, do you need the teacher book? You definitely need the teacher book, unless you want to sit and read each story and then find the answers with them. I don't have time for that. So the teacher's guides are really, really important. So those are really a lot of the pros. I really love this. I really think it's great. Let's talk about the cons. So the lessons can be long. This is not something they're going to get done in 5 minutes. So I haven't timed it, so I couldn't actually tell you how long a lesson takes. But it does involve reading the story. It does involve a lot of questions. It's, what did I say, 3 to 4 pages of work. So it isn't a super quick, easy curriculum. So if that's what you're looking for, this is not going to fit for you. But it is a good challenge. I wouldn't call it busy work. I really think that all the pages are important. It's good review, so they're really getting this stuff ingrained in their head by doing it over and over again. It's just like it's like a spiral approach to reading, because a lot of the stuff just keeps coming back on each lesson. So they really are getting it, but they are longer lessons. One con that my girls would say, my 2 big girls, my 3rd grader loves the stories and everything's great. She loves this curriculum. My other 2 would say that the stories are boring. That's how they would label it. I don't think so, but especially my 7th grader, she said the stories are boring. This is coming from a kid that she's a lot like her mom. She loves like mysteries. Like we read mysteries. That's kind of pretty much all I read in my free time. I would read like a murder mystery. She loves mystery stories or adventure. She is not big on historical fiction. Like that's something I have to assign and she has to read it. She does not choose that. These are just good, wholesome stories. They're not like you sit on the edge of your seat and what's going to happen kind of thing. So to her, she finds them boring. I personally think they're really good quality stories. So I told her, this is just something you've got to get out of your comfort zone. You can't just read mysteries. You've got to read other stuff. You've got to read historical fiction sometimes. You have to read things that are not your favorite to have a wide variety of reading and a wide range of understanding different books, where it's not just the excitement of the book, but the quality of the stories. And my 5th grader, sometimes she likes stories, sometimes she says they're boring, and she's one that likes funny books. So if it is not a funny, humorous book, she hates it. She doesn't like mystery. She likes adventure, but she is like, if it's not funny, it's not for her. So these aren't necessarily funny books either. So if your kid is a one genre type of reader, they may find these boring, but I think it's important. I mean, we read books in high school and college that I wouldn't have picked up off the shelf, but they taught me something, and I needed to get out of my comfort zone. So I do think that it's good, but from the kids' perspective, they don't think the stories are super exciting. I really think those are the only 2 cons, is just the length of the stories and that they're not like, super exciting. She had one story in here that she read recently that she actually was like, Mom, that was actually a really good story. Like, she was surprised. Must have had some adventure in it or something. But I think they're good, and the mom gets to pick the curriculum, so okay. So overall, this is a big thumbs up. We do love it. I'm so glad I'm back. I wish I had not skipped that year, because I think it is harder getting into it because we skipped that year, but it's okay. We will catch up, and I think it's great. I feel like they're learning a lot of important stuff, and it's a good curriculum. So if you guys want to see a flip through of this reading curriculum and a certain level, or if you want to see what the whole teacher's book looks like and things like that, let me know. I've shown that in the past, but not with these levels. So let me know if that's something that you want to see. Today was just kind of a review. I didn't want to make this video too long. Make sure you guys stay tuned and are subscribed to my channel, because I'm going to continue this series of how we're liking our curriculum mid-year. So if you want to find out how we're liking language, math, history, science, I'm going to, over the next month or so, keep throwing these videos out here. So if you want to see those and you're interested in how things are working for us, then make sure you are subscribed and you click that notification bell so you're notified every time one of my videos comes out. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I love it when you guys encourage me like that. I will see you guys next time. Bye.